Hi everybody, welcome to Sophie's Tales channel. Make yourself as comfortable as you can and leave your worries and stress behind. This time is to relax. Take breaths and feel the tension leave your body. Close your eyes and dream the story I am about to tell you. Puss in Boots. Once upon a time, there was a miller who left all his property to his 3 sons, a mill, a donkey, and a cat. They didn't call a notary or a lawyer because they wouldn't be able to cope with such expenses. So, the property was divided quickly, according to the age of the 3 heirs. The eldest son took the mill, the second the donkey, and the third, the youngest, only a cat. The youngest son felt very unhappy that he got such a small share of the inheritance. My brothers can make an honest living if they decide to work together. As for me, what money can I make by selling a cat? Once I run out of money, I will surely starve, he monologued in despair. The cat pretended not to hear these words and said to his master, "Don't be upset, master. Just give me a sack and a pair of boots, and I will prove to you that you are very lucky to have inherited me." Although the lad did not believe this promise, he had found that the cat was very good at catching mice, using various clever tricks. So he decided to give the cat what it was asking for. As soon as the cat got what he wanted, he proudly put on his boots, hung the bag around his neck, and ran into the forest, which was full of rabbits. He put some clover and lettuce in the sack, lay down next to it, and dozed off. He waited patiently for a rabbit to come along and enter the sack, lured by the contents. Soon, a small rabbit quickly burrowed into the sack. The cat suddenly pulled the ropes of the bag, trapped the rabbit, and without pity killed it. Proud to have caught such prey, the cat went straight to the palace and demanded an audience with the king. As soon as he was received, he bowed to the king and said, "Your Highness, I bring you a gift from my master, the Marquis of Carabas. He asked me to offer it to you on their behalf." "Tell your master that I am grateful to him and that I got great pleasure," replied the king. After some time, the cat hid in a wheat field, keeping the sack open. As soon as 2 partridges were in, he pulled the ropes and caught them both together. Then he went to the palace and offered them to the king, that is on behalf of the Marquis of Carabas, just as he had done with the rabbit. The king gladly accepted the 2 partridges and even reciprocated with a small gift as a token of appreciation. For the next 2 or 3 months, the cat continued to offer the king prey, which he said his master had killed. The king was already impressed by the generosity of this unknown Marquis of Carabas. One day, The cat heard that the king was planning to go on a trip with his daughter, who was said to be the most beautiful princess on earth. So he said to his master, "If you want to make fortune, take my advice. Go swim in the river at the spot I will show you. Leave the rest to me." The young man did as the cat told him, having no idea what was about to happen. At the time when the king's carriage was passing by that place, and while the young man was in the water, the cat began to cry out with all his might, "Help! Aid! My master, the Marquis of Carabas, is drowning." As soon as he heard the voices, the king stuck his head out of the carriage and immediately recognized the cat that had so often offered him prey. He therefore at once ordered his guards to hasten to the aid of the Marquis of Carabas. As the guards pulled the young Marquis out of the water, the cat ran to the royal carriage and told the king that some robbers had stolen his master's clothes while he was swimming in the river. He said he tried to stop them by shouting, "Get the thieves!" but to no avail. In reality, of course, the clever cat had hidden his master's clothes under a rock. The king ordered his courtiers to offer a magnificent formal costume to the Marquis of Carabas. The young man was a very handsome lad with a fine figure. They flattered him unimaginably. From the first moment the king's daughter saw him, she fell madly in love with him. The king insisted that the young marquis accompany them on their excursion. The cat, seeing with satisfaction that his plan was succeeding, ran forward. When he met some peasants harvesting on some estates, he said to them, "Listen to me carefully, my good people. If you do not tell the king that all these estates belong to the Marquis of Carabas, know that you will be cut into pieces and you will look like minced meat." When the king passed by, he did not fail to ask the villagers to whom the estates belonged. "They belong to our lord, the Marquis of Carabas," they all answered in unison, having been terrified by the cat's threats. "I see you have here a great fortune," said the king to the false marquis. "As you can see, my king, my fields yield a bountiful harvest every year," replied the young man. Puss in Boots continued to lead the royal carriage. When he met some other farmers who were harvesting wheat, he called out to them, "Listen to me, my good people. If you do not tell the king that all this wheat belongs to the Marquis of Carabas, you will be cut into pieces and you will look like minced meat." The king passed by a little later and wanted to know who owned the grain of the area. "They belong to the Marquis of Carabas," replied the reapers, and immediately the king expressed his admiration and satisfaction to the marquis. Puss in Boots kept running in front of the carriage and saying the same thing to all the peasants he met. The king was amazed by the enormous wealth possessed by the Marquis of Carabas. Finally, the cat arrived at a large and beautiful castle. owned by an evil sorcerer who was famous for his riches. All the estates that the king saw on his way belonged to him. The clever cat, who had taken care to find out who the sorcerer was and what powers he possessed, asked to meet him to pay his respects. The sorcerer received him in his tower and asked him to sit down. "Many say you have the ability to transform into any animal you wish," said the cat. "I have been told, for example, that you can transform into a lion or an elephant. Is it true?" "Of course," replied the sorcerer, "and to prove it to you, I will become a lion." The cat was so terrified by suddenly seeing a terrible lion before him that he climbed onto the roof, not without difficulty or danger, as the boots he was wearing did not help him at all. Boots aren't made to walk on tiles. After a while, when the sorcerer assumed his normal form, the cat descended from the roof and admitted that he was very frightened. "They also say," continued the cat, "that you have the power to take the form and dimensions of very small animals. But this I find hard to believe. I have heard, for example, that you can even transform into a mouse. I confess that it seems quite impossible to me." "Impossible," said the sorcerer ironically. "So look." And in an instant, he transformed into a small mouse, running across the floor. As soon as the cat saw it, he wasted no time. He smiled at it and ate it. In the meantime, the king saw the magnificent castle of the sorcerer from his carriage and wanted to go inside to admire it. The cat, as soon as he heard the carriage crossing the castle bridge, ran to greet the king, saying, "Your Majesty, welcome to the castle of the Marquis of Carabas." "What?" cried the king. "So you own this magnificent castle, my dear Marquis? I have never seen anything so beautiful as this courtyard and the magnificent buildings that surround it. Let's go inside if you like." The Marquis took the young princess by the hand, and they followed the king, who went up the stairs. As soon as he entered the great hall, they saw in front of them an amazing table filled with all kinds of delicacies. The sorcerer had prepared it for his friends who would visit him that day, but they did not dare to enter, knowing that the king was there. The king was delighted with the many gifts of the Marquis of Carabas, as was his daughter, who remained deeply in love with him. Finding out what a rich and powerful man the Marquis was, and after drinking a few glasses of wine, the king said to him, "The decision belongs to you, Marquis, if you would like to be my son-in-law." The young Marquis made a deep bow and gladly accepted the great honor bestowed upon him by the king. At the same day, he married the princess, and they lived happily ever after. As for Puss in Boots, She became a great lord and never had to hunt mice again, unless it was for fun.